Cade?
Here.
Mr. Korn?
Here.
Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Saunders?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here. Next up, we have the Pledge of the American flag and a prayer led by our superintendent. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you at the opening of this board meeting this evening, Lord, praying that you would just lead, guide, and direct in all things that are said and done here this evening. We pray as we approach an important date on Thursday that you would just watch over all of our staff and our students, give us all a good school year, a safe school year, and allow us to do the important work of educating students. We love you and thank you for all the things you've done for us, and ask once again that you would just lead, guide, and direct on whatever's accomplished in our prayers. We'll not fail to give you the praise and glory, for it's in your precious name we ask. Amen.
Up next, approve the agenda for the August 15th, 2022 regular board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Korn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay. Item 4, consent agenda. Items under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted under one motion. Board member and be removed from the calendar for separate consideration.
I have a question. And late in the meeting, because I want to read that job description.
Sure, absolutely. We will make that the next item up then. Okay, 4.1. Approve the minutes as per Ohio Revised Code 3313.26 for the July 18th, 2022 regular board meeting as prepared by the treasurer. Approve the bills, payroll, and financial statements. Approve to make application for E-rate services for the 22-23 fiscal year. Approve to continue the district-wide honor roll incentive program to allow free admission to home athletic events for honor roll students for the 2022-23 school year. The Board of Education will reimburse the high school athletic fund $3 for each honor roll student attending, up to a maximum of $6,000 for the year. The junior high athletic fund will be reimbursed $1.50 for each honor roll student attending, up to a maximum of $3,000 per year. Approve the transportation costs from the general fund for band and athletic trips and activities for the 22-23 school year. Approve to enter into a cooperative agreement with Elite Rehab and Fitness for the purpose of providing PT and OT services for students attending Open Door School for the 22-23 school year. With the 4.7, with the athletic directors and superintendent's recommendations, approve a contract in the amount of $4,000 to KDMC for athletic trainer services for the 22-23 school year.
Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, and Jeff as well. E-rate's something that you're basically just submitting, to get approval, and it would be for technology equipment. We've done computers and laptops or iPads, I guess, in the past. But it's just basically if you can get we submit, if it's approval, it's basically. It's just pretty much free money, isn't it, Jeff? I mean, for us to get, specific goods and items.
Yeah, we got like it's 80 or 85% discount off of, actually it's mainly networking infrastructure and stuff is what we can mainly get with it.
Does that have anything to do with Meta?
No.
Okay, need a motion and second to approve the consent agenda as read.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Korn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
We'll go ahead and consider item 4.8 as
Hey,
second.
let's wait till a little later. I haven't read that job description yet.
Okay, we'll wait 4.8 again.
I'll take time to read it when we go into executive session. Won't be any questions in executive session, I just want a chance to read it.
It's fine. Okay. Item 5, at this time, the board recognizes the building principals for a brief update.
I'll go first. We had a good first day in service today. We had a speaker named Danny Hill that discussed a program called ICU with us today. The basic tenet is every student completes every assignment. And that training today was for grades 5 through 12 here in the lecture hall. And we just talked about ways that this has been successful in other places and how we can tweak this program to fit us, not only at Sims Valley, but within our building and the elementary as well. And I'm sure Brandon might mention that again, but one of the aims of this is to address student apathy, which has been, if you talk to educators in any state, in any school district, particularly since the pandemic, and a lot of kids were on remote learning and those kinds of things, that there's been, you know, some malaise left over from the COVID time. So this is another way that we're going to try to address that in order to, A, get better academic performance for our kids. We're also going to engage parents in this. And you'll hear more about this as the year goes on. Both buildings posted some information on social media for parents earlier today. So that's what we did today at In-Service. And it is a standards-based program. The Ohio academic standards will be addressed in this. In just a few minutes, I'm going to ask Mr. Holland if he would kind of give a little update for the athletic department about events that are coming up this week. I know he posted something on the social media site for the athletic department, and you know he's done a good job with that. Been very happy with what I've seen there with the information getting out to parents. So.
Just an update on what's this week?
Yeah, just this week.
Okay.
He posted a thing that said, "This week in Viking athletics," if you happen to see it, but I thought it was very good and something I wanted to bring the board's attention.
Okay, yeah, if you're not on the athletic department group page, you need to try to follow that if you're on Facebook. We're putting everything out there. Our fundraising's out there. But this week, like tonight, we've got the girls are scrimmaging with Ironton in here, volleyball. Our junior high girls are at Rock Hill scrimmaging. Tomorrow evening during open house, we've got our mandatory fall sports OHSA parent meeting at 6. The 18th, we've got high school volleyball at Cold Grove, and the junior high volleyball actually has a game at East. And then Friday, obviously, is the kickoff of the football season. And cheerleaders are having a tailgate, pulled pork, right, Josh?
Yep.
You involved in that?
Yeah.
You and Derek both, I'm sure, are.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what you've heard. So,
That's right.
But we're just trying to keep people up to date and that kind of stuff. So.
You want to say anything about the remote broadcast of the football?
We met with Caleb Jones one day last week with Mr. Polly, and that seems to be going good as far as getting the setup to that. We've got 3 people on the broadcast team. Mr. Corns joining the broadcast team, along with John Sharp and Nathan Hieronymus. So those will be the 3 voices you hear. We've had a few local businesses reach out and want to advertise on that. Most of them I think are kind of the wait and see what that's going to look like. We've sold a lot of advertisement for the fence that's going up later this week, and done good there as far as that goes. And but we've got fewer commercials sold at this point, but I think they're all kind of like, well, I don't really know what it's going to look like. So, but it's a good thing. And that's not just a fall or a football fundraiser, that's all fall sports. So we're trying to get that out there. So I worked with Ms. Carpenter on getting a few names there of people that she'd used in the past, and Tara Snyder also. So we're trying to partner together, get stuff for all the kids.
Then from the high school perspective, Mr. Barry is going to or to present on behalf of the BLT about the library renovations and so forth, which is, you know, that's the other big item that's going on in the high school building right now. So, any questions?
Kudos to Eric, and you guys did a great job on the Facebook page. When you posted that today about all the stuff for the week, I hadn't looked at that before. So today when I saw that, I thought, hey, that helps me plan out stuff for the week, you know what's going on, and great idea on that. So.
Mine will be extremely brief. Sure,
Randy's gonna talk about our new lobby, the elementary. Were you?
I was not.
All right, I will.
I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. Randy and I got together and talked about some safety features in the elementary. What's typically happened is, in the past, is you're buzzed in the front door at the elementary, and then you go through another set of double doors, and then often a kid going to the nurse will walk right by you, and you could be a complete stranger, and they'll walk right into the nurse's station. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why are we doing that? So we're not doing it anymore. Just like that, we fixed it. So, 99% of people will never leave what my grandma taught me to call a vestibule. They'll never leave the vestibule there. That small area, we took my old office and knocked part of the wall out. We weren't using it except for anything but NECO counselors, but we plan to move them into a room in the library. And we put a bulletproof window, 1 inch, is that what we got? There is a 1 inch slot for paperwork to go through it. So one of the secretaries will be housed in there. So if a kid goes to the nurse from now on, there will not be a way for the public to get into what we call the lobby, which is a major improvement. Sarah Cade was going to be the first person that if something would ever happen, they could get in there. So that problem is gone now. We're excited about that. Bulletproof glass been installed all around, so we are excited about that. I believe all we're waiting on the multi-purpose room is sprinklers. Is that correct, Mr. Bowman?
No, I think they've got the sprinklers in. They have called for a final inspection in the next couple of days.
Okay. Yeah,
We can have final, even though
we have temporary occupancy though.
no, that's, the final's gonna beat the temporary probably.
But we never got a waiver.
Huh?
We didn't get a waiver.
Well,
So
they
we
got-
didn't have to.
The speed of the progress caught up with this waiver, so we may not need to go that route. So hopefully the final inspection will go well.
But we're pleased to have those rooms, and once we got the rooms in, then we're like, oh, we go over this and this, it doesn't have a whiteboard in it, it doesn't have this in it, it doesn't have this in it. So we're still going through that process right now, but we are happy to have 2 new classrooms as opposed to the multi-purpose room that just turned into a junk room. Other
So
than that,
you guys were pleased with how the contractors did on this, the speed at which they've done the work?
me walking through there and going, yeah, that's a wall, that's as pleased as, you know what I mean? I'm not going, like, yeah, it's up. Nobody's yelling at me, so, yeah, I'm pleased.
I just walked through there before the meeting. I was helping Bethany carry stuff to her room. They did a good job. Just from what I glanced in and looked, cabinets in and stuff.
Excited to have a real open house for the first time in a while, since before all this was gray. So that happens on tomorrow night, 5 to 8. That's all I got.
One other item for the high school, you talking about construction kind of jogged my mind. We added a new handicap cutout on the sidewalk out there, which might not seem like a big addition to some people, but in my family, over the last 20 years, we've learned exactly what kind of obstacles are truly obstacles when you're in a wheelchair. And man, that's been something that's been overdue for a long time. Just want to thank the board and Mr. Bowman on behalf of just my family, but also I'm sure in the community, that'll be something that will make it much easier to gain access to our building for many years to come.
It might be a good idea to post that on some of our pages and stuff, just to because there could be people in the community not coming
I
to
agree.
events because of originally what was before and how difficult it was to get in. And I realized it's something simple, but after it was brought to my attention and I saw it, I could see how that was a challenge to get up over it, or had to go clear to the end to get up there.
Yeah, and if it was raining or snowing, our handicap spot's right across from the porch, and you had to go to either end to
Yeah.
be able to get up there.
And I think we looked at it during graduation.
Yeah.
Thank you, fellas, and good luck to the upcoming school year. going to move on to item 6. This time, the board recognizes Randy Boggs, School Safety and Security Administrator, for a brief update.
I'm gonna try and make this brief. As part of the safety plan for Sims Valley, I was required through House Bill 123 to put together a threat assessment team for behavior. I put a 12-member team together, and Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., we're gonna be going through our training with Scott Wilson at the Ironton High School Gymnasium. So we'll be gone basically all day Wednesday for that training. And the reason behind that is the team was put together to intercept people who are on a pathway to commit violence. And in the event the team's assessment reveals that this is true and possible, that this team is going to come up with a plan to disrupt the chance of it getting any worse with the kids and stuff. And I think the team I got together with this, I think they're, I mean, I'm not saying it because you're here, Mr. Berry, but I think I got the best of the best that we have to offer. And I think the training is going to be good. It's a requirement. It has to be done by, I think, December of maybe January of 23. It had to be in place, and we're already ahead of the curve, so to speak, on that.
Good deal. Very good. Is that everything, Randy?
That's it.
Appreciate your efforts in keeping the school safe and the new security measures we're taking at the elementary. That's very important to a lot of families. We've got some important souls that's going to be walking through the doors on Thursday, so
Absolutely.
any of those efforts can be made are duly appreciated. All right. Moving on to discussion 8, discussion update regarding possible, sorry. At this time, the board recognizes the board participation form, and there was no one that signed it, so we're going to skip that. I had already skipped it in my mind, obviously. Item 8, discussion update regarding possible improvements to the weight room and public restroom facilities. Go ahead, fellas.
Was it last week, Mr. Miller? It was, wasn't it?
Wasn't last week, a couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago. We ended up meeting with an architect, and what was his name again in his case?
Randy Mullins.
Randy Mullins. And we took him up to the weight room. We talked to him about the sketch we had from the previous meeting. And basically what he told us was, as far as our idea of this end piece being like fixing the roof and being a visitor's locker room, that was totally possible. Said that going from there that way in the existing room and taking out all those walls to mold it into kind of what we had talked about was also possible. Also said that there was, no issues or anything that he could see as far as expanding that way. When it comes to the restrooms, though, we mentioned the 2 different possibilities of keeping them on the end like they are now, or putting them down on the other side of the concession stand. Jeff was there at that meeting as well, McAllister, and what they basically came up with that was, you could do it, however, it was gonna take a considerable amount of more money because of how the sewage treatment sits down there. You would have to get a pump to pump it up to it. So really what he was saying was your best bet as far as efficiency with your costs and everything like that was to build it on the end of the building. He also said that if we decide to move further with it, that he would come out and, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bowman, but said it for an hourly rate, he would come out and take measurements and give us more of an idea on roughly of what something like that would cost. As far as dimensions go and things of that sort, for an extension on what's already there, for renovation of what's there, as well as the public restrooms. But basically, he said, you're looking at somewhere around 1/4 of the cost if you would build the restrooms on the end instead of putting it down where we had talked about previously. So.
Didn't we talk about somewhere between 150,000 to 200,000?
Yeah.
It felt like without, and he made it clear that,
Yes.
keep in mind, he's doing this with not looking at any plans.
Right.
Even the walls inside, he said those could be taken down because they don't appear to be load bearing, but he wasn't up in the ceiling and he doesn't have a plan for that building. And if any of you know where the plan for that building might be, Jeff was gonna look for him.
Yeah.
But he said he felt like it might be in that range. So if it turns out he goes to work for us and he comes back with $225,000, don't be shocked or disappointed, because he had once said 150 to 200. He's taking a shot. So I guess at the end of the day, the decision to be made is, if we have a feeling we're gonna be looking at that type of money, do you want to take the next step and have him start digging in, taking measurements, drawing out plans? Or do you want to consider it a little bit longer? So we told him we were having a board meeting coming up, and we would discuss it with the board members and kind of get direction from you guys as far as how you wanted to proceed.
Refresh my memory on that bathroom facility. Is that part of it going to include shower stalls?
So, yeah, the part that we have now that would be renovated would also include, excuse me, shower stalls. The best thing that we talked about up there is where the current public bathroom sits and where the weight room bathroom sits for the players and all that now. All that plumbing and everything would be kind of remodeled, but would stay right there just for the student access. And then they would build off the new section for the new access. Because basically what he was telling us too is, when you start moving the plumbing, even if it's existing, lines, all that type of stuff, is when it really starts to get pricey. But basically what he was saying was, if we keep all that and just rework of how it sits now, and we're able to get that dividing wall between where our showers and bathroom are now, and then where the public bathroom and all that is now, that could be reworked into a potential small training room, where you could store like Terran's stuff and all that, and have an access to it to where, like, if a volleyball player needed to come up and get taped, they could enter through the outside of it and it not have to ever conflict with the locker room portion and things of that sort. It could also be like a small room for laundry and things of that sort, if we ever decide to go that route, for sports teams, for their uniforms and all that. And then also be like a reworked area for bathrooms and shower and all that for the locker room now.
Does the diagram currently show how many stalls and how many urinals?
No, we haven't gotten that far necessarily. That was something that he kind of talked about, especially with like this new part this way for the visitors locker room. We did figure that they would need at least one sink, one urinal, and one stall as like the visitors locker room here. He said that wouldn't necessarily be a huge expense, but that they could run it in this section. And then really what we have in there now, the amount isn't really the issue. It's just like there's 6 shower heads and like 3 work, things. It's just rework and stuff like that. The space isn't necessarily the issue. It's just how efficiently it's being used currently. So
The public bathroom down there, we want that to be pretty nice, not what we currently have, obviously. And I'm okay to go ahead and get the drawings drawn up for my part of it.
Me too. I'll get a hold of him then, and we'll get him moving for us.
Fellas, any questions, anything further? Okay. Item 9, discussion update regarding high school library renovation with high school BLT representatives.
All right, so listen, this evening, Ms. Carpenter and Ms. Forbush, Ms. Hopkins, they were already gone, and I found Ms. Pinkerman in her room snooping around, so I just grabbed her and brought her in here with me. But a couple things. So the flooring, phase 1, I guess, of the library, guys, floor covering got the low bid, gave the low bid, and it's around $23,000. It's vinyl flooring, like what we just put in Miss Egner's room. Looks really nice. Gonna be sharp. One of the things I like about it is it seems to be pretty easy to just clean it up. All right. So furniture, executive interiors, that's who we've been working with, and they are working to reduce our cost, reduce our quote to around $50,000. So that's their goal. They're trying to help us out with that. Now they're also just focusing on the upper level, so keep that in mind. But as far as it goes, we should have their quote. We should have their plan by the end of the week. That's according to Ms. Hopkins. All right. The esports technology, virtual reality stuff. A couple of things on that. So the esports team, esports equipment, to have all of it and to have 2 competitions for our students to participate in, it's about $11,000. All right. With that said, Ruth and I met with some people in Texas when we were in Texas. We made some connections down there. A woman from middle school a principal from South Carolina. And as we were talking to her, she stated very quickly that this was the best, I'm going to give you her quote, was the best damn thing that they'd ever done. That was what she said, right? The reason why she said it that way, she said it was her girls. Her girls were the students that really picked up on esports and started recruiting the boys to it. And, you know, a lot of times you think of boys being the ones playing the video games, right? But their female population was the ones that were really excited about it. So we're excited about working with this woman, talking with her, and getting some more information from her. I will tell you this, Daryl and I spoke just a little bit before the meeting, and I'm amazed that there's $20 million in college scholarships every year for virtual reality for esports, $20 million. 2 of the top 10 esports colleges in the country are in your state, the University of Akron and Miami, Ohio. Shawnee State University is in the top 10 as far as producing video games, right? That's all right here. And you know, we've got kids that walk up and down these hallways, and sometimes they feel like they don't fit, or sometimes they feel like they don't have a purpose. That's their purpose. That's what they want to do. So the more we can expose them to this, and not only expose them to the esports, but here's the other thing too, the social component. Getting them on a quote-unquote team, right? I mean, it's important. You 5 have to work together. If you don't work together, it's going to be lousy. Agreed? So as far as it goes with kids, it's the same for them. If they don't have somebody to work with, it's going to be bad. So I really feel like that the esports thing is something that will be good for our kids, our student body, and I think it will make a difference for some of these kids who are attendance issues. I really do. Daryl and I spoke about that earlier. Ruth and I have talked about that. BLT will meet tomorrow during a Zoom, or I'm sorry, BLT will meet via a Zoom meeting tomorrow with some virtual reality AI type of stuff. So, yeah, Mr. Humphreys and I spoke about that earlier. I will say this, a major component to the resource center, library, media, whatever you want to call it, resource center. Ms. Pinkerman and I, literacy is important to us. I know the man sitting in the middle over there, I know is super important to him. And one of the things I want to do this year with my second period class is get over into his building with my kids and work with his younger kids. Just read to them. I don't care, just read. It makes a difference. But as far as books going into the new library, if we have books, but they're like 1912 editions, kids aren't going to like that. So Ms. Pinkerman and I have talked about at different times, different genres, different books that we can put in there. I currently am still working with some of the companies that I reached out to at the end of the school year to try to find more up-to-date, more modern books that kids are going to like. Because I'll say this, Josh, your daughters are a junior in high school and a freshman in high school. They're not necessarily going to read Beowulf. It's just not going to happen.
That's right.
Yeah. With that said, I understand that. I've got daughters that are the same age, right? So my point is, I want to try to find as modern books as we can that are going to be suited to our students' needs and what they want. Not just their needs, but their wants. Because you know what? They're kids. And the periodicals, the reading periodicals, working with different companies on that too, trying to find the best thing. You know, some kids, their hands, popular mechanics, that's what they want, right? So we want to try to find that kind of stuff for our students. My goal, her goal, and all the other people at BLT's goal is to make this resource center, media center, library, the very best it can be. And I will also say this too, user-friendly and used. We plan to use it, all right? So that's all I have. Do you have any questions? There may be some questions you have that I can't answer, but I'll try my best.
I think it's impressive, the furniture bid went down that much. And kudos to you guys for trying to get it, because I'm not gonna lie, that was the one that stuck out to me, like 110,000 furniture, like that. I'm just gonna be honest, like I'm thinking chairs and stuff, but I realized it was different than what you guys went and saw. Or Jennifer, maybe.
Well, let me add to that real quick.
Weigh in on that after we see the furniture.
What's that? I'm sorry.
We may want to weigh in on that after we see what it cost us versus what we got.
So I literally just got back from Floyd County, Kentucky, right? Yeah. My daughter and I went down and we worked down there for some flood relief, right? And one of the things, they have a brand new high school down there, but one thing that I wanted to see was their library. Now this is like a 3-story building, and as you go into this building, like up over top, you can look down in, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it was a joke. It's a brand new library. They had some tables there. There was maybe 4 cases of books. Now, there was 6 nice big screen TVs. That was it. What we are wanting to do with our library, media center, resource room, resource center, man, that's state of the art. And that meets every academic need and every type of entertainment need for our kids. And it's team building, it's group building. So, any other questions?
Justin, I know that there was like some 3D printers and things like that. Is that still in that 11,000?
I hope so. I hope so. I'll be honest with you. I have looked more at the literacy. All right, and Ruth has looked more into the technology and the furniture aspect of this. All right, Jennifer has worked with her on the furniture and the flooring. All right, so we've all been a part of this, but I look more at the literacy part. They look more at that. I hope so, because I'm going to say this. I think 3D printers are something our students definitely need. I don't think, I know they are. It's important. You're an education major. You know that.
Do either of you know, Guys Forest covering was one of the quotes. Do either of you know who the other, I don't know if it was
I'm
2
going to guess
quotes.
Bowers was one of them. I could be wrong. I said I'm going to guess Bowers was one of them. I could be wrong.
I think Village was
I was
one.
told Village was one.
Yeah, and was there a third one?
I really don't
I
know.
don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just guys.
Okay,
and
the reason I asked that is he said 23,000.
That's around the price,
It's
yeah.
like 28,000. And since it was over the 25,000 threshold, even though you already said, we'll give him 70,000, I didn't want to go ahead and do that until the board could act on something over the 25,000 threshold. And I made a note, as soon as he said that, I thought, shoot, I forgot to add that to the thing. So I'll get the quote back there, but I wanted to find out who the other quote came from, so you would have that information as well while they're here. The guys ended up being the lowest quote on that job, so I just need you to consider approving it, hopefully tonight, so they can get it going. They said even if it got approved, or even if they started back a couple weeks ago when we got this, it could be September, mid-September, before they can get the product in to get going on it. But
I would imagine it's about the same for furniture, maybe even a little further than that, so.
Mr. Berry, change the subject matter. Did Mrs. Bloomfield bring you up to snuff on our last meeting? Monday?
It's tomorrow, isn't it?
No, we had it last week.
No.
You might want to touch
Oh,
base.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I was thinking it was tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine. It's
My
not a
fault.
problem.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
Yeah, no, she did not, but hey, listen, I want to say this as well. Our BLT staff, or our BLT team works really hard for our kids, we really do. And I will say that kudos to the man sitting up there in the blue jacket who assembled it and put it together. I appreciate what he's done for us with that, appreciate the things Daryl does for us, but we're really working hard on this library. I really want you to help us out with it.
They're passionate about that. And he mentioned the flood thing in Eastern Kentucky. Some of you guys know, I kind of spearheaded a thing along with Donna Haney's husband Eric at our church, and went down there on a mission trip. Justin will tell you down in Knott County, I mean, they got an elementary school with the windows and doors open where they're throwing every single thing in there outside, every desk, you name it.
There's nothing left in the building, nothing. One building can never be reused again, because it sits in a floodplain, it's never going to be used again.
Were they made aware for a recent sale we had over here? Did they participate in that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Anybody from there, that you're
Yeah,
aware
not
of?
that I'm aware of, Timmy, and honestly, right now, I don't even know that they're at that point to even be thinking about that. Just trying to get, not just that building cleaned out, but Knott County Central High School got hit pretty hard.
By the way, how did that furniture thing go? Or sale?
Thought it went pretty well.
Did we move everything, or we had?
Yeah, everything's out. We just got some stuff back there to scrap, but, yep, it's all gone. We were able to wax the floor the next morning. That was the important part.
We actually used the cafeteria today. Because last time I seen the cafeteria, it was packed full of, it looked like a warehouse, and today it looked like a cafeteria.
Now, Brandon, did that money go into the principal's fund? Is that?
General fund.
Into just back in the general fund? I didn't know if you were gonna try to use that here.
No, it was bought with general fund.
Yeah.
Give it back to general fund.
You know, right off the top of your head, what that amount is?
What'd I turn in, Brad? A little over $900, maybe.
Yeah, it was a little more because it had to start up.
There's a lot of people got a lot of bargains, didn't they? A lot of people got a lot of bargains, didn't they?
Yeah,
That's good equipment.
yeah,
No problem with it.
yeah. I don't know what to price a desk. I just wanted it out of there.
What I was gonna say was about that Eastern Kentucky deal. Some of our teachers have been talking, I think that we may see some of our clubs after we get school up and running that tries to do something to provide some aid to those people down there. And it's, when you go down there, it's just sobering.
It is. It'll break your heart. My daughter cried as we drove down the road. I heard her hand go to her mouth, I heard her gasp, and she cried for a solid 10 minutes. It was awful.
Thank you guys for your efforts. All right. Moving on to item 10. Approve to enter into executive session to consider the employment of a public employer official, to consider the compensation of a public employer official, and to confer with an attorney for the Board of Education concerning disputes involving the board that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade? Yay. Mr. Corn?
Yeah.
All right, we're on item 11, approve to re-enter the regular session.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade? Yay. Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
All right, thank you for that. We're gonna go back to item 4.8. So we're gonna say approve the job description for district administrative assistant as prepared by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade? Yay. Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
No.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Okay, this is gonna be, item 11A, approve a change to the agenda to add item numbers 22A and 22B. And I can read those all. So 22A is approved to authorize the school superintendent to purchase a school use truck and accessories to an amount of $49,999. This authorization expires December 31st, 2022, at which time it may be reconsidered. And then 22B will be approve the purchase of flooring from Guy's Floor Covering in the amount of $28,933.56 for the high school library.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Cade? Yay. Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay. Okay. Item 12, approve the 2022-2023 substitute list as presented by the superintendent, pending receipt of proper credentials and background checks.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Item 13, approve the 2022-23 contract hauler list as presented by the superintendent, pending filing of all appropriate documentation.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Item 14, approve Ashley Deerfield for a one-year contract to provide gap intervention services for the 22-23 school year, pending receipt of proper certification and background checks. This position will be paid from ESSER funds for the 22-23 school year. Salary and benefits will be in accordance with the board SVEA contract agreement.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Item 15, approve an administrative staff salary increase for the district treasurer in the amount of 3.75% in addition to a one-time wage supplement equal to the board OPSI bargaining unit contract amount for the 22-23 school year.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Item 16, approve an administrative staff salary increase for the district superintendent in the amount of 2.5% in addition to a one-time wage supplemental equal to the board OPSI bargaining unit contract amount for the 22-23 school year.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay. Item 17, approve approve blank as a full-time aide for the 22-23 school year, pending receipt of proper credentials and background check. Terms and conditions will be paid in accordance with the board OPSI bargaining unit agreement.
I nominate Ashley Pelletier.
Second.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Item 18, in response to an increase in operations expenses for contract haulers, approve a daily stipend of $5 per day for independent contract haulers and $2.50 per day for related contract haulers through the end of the first semester. This stipend will be reevaluated prior to the start of the second semester.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
I think I voted twice on that one.
That means you really like it.
Item 19, approve to accept the resignation of Bethany Hardy as junior high girls volleyball coach effective August 1st, 2022.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Item 20, approve a supplemental contract for Brittany Lane as junior high volleyball coach for the 22-23 school year.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Item 21, approve to accept the resignation of Amber Treadway as an aide effective August 12th, 2022.
Motion.
Make the motion. Second.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay. Item 22, approve Josh Moss to be trained as bus driver by the Sims Valley LSD OBI at Berry.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay. Greg, did you say Mr. Moss did have all his credentials?
He's got his credentials to do the subbing work that he's doing now, but in doing the bus training, he don't have any
Yeah,
bus
okay.
driver credentials right now.
Item 22A, approve to authorize the school superintendent to purchase a school use truck and accessories up to an amount of $49,999. This authorization expires December 31st, 2022, at which time it may be reconsidered.
Motion.
Second.
Got the motion by Cade and a second by Corn. Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Item 22B, to approve the purchase of flooring from Guy's Floor Covering in the amount of $28,933.56 for the high school library. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Mr. Saunders?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson?
Yay.
Mr. Cade?
Yay.
Mr. Corn?
Yay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yay.
All right, item 23, our superintendent's report. Mr. Bowman, you're up.
It's going to be pretty brief tonight. The latest spending plan summary, which you have on the superintendent's report on the backside, we had a surplus of $19,773 for the month of July. And given that this is the first month of the fiscal year, that's also what our year-end surplus is, which is, if you look at your comparison in your financial report in your packet, last year we were about $42,000 deficit or something like that. So compared to a year ago, we're on the plus side at least for the ledger this time. Secondly, we have a larger than normal number of students who will be attending Collins or have signed up for Collins Career Center. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a bus driver on standby for Thursday in case we have the need to run a second bus. If we run a second bus, we're going to do a girls' bus and boys' bus. It's kind of evenly split, but hopefully, out of the 73 or so that's going, we'll have 23 of them that drive, and we can still transport safely with one bus. But we just don't want to be unprepared on the Thursday and Friday, and we may have to continue that for a couple weeks just to make sure the dust settles, because they do have till around Labor Day to make changes and decide to come here, or come back, or go out there. So we'll monitor that closely, but I just want to let you know we may end up having to run a second bus. Hopefully it won't be permanent, but if it is, we'll take care of that. Third, at I think it was last month's meeting, you all approved a couple of technology items. One was for the purchase of computers, and after we did that, Jeff went to order the computers, and correct me anytime I would go offline here, Jeff. The monitors are going to be delayed, so in order to get monitors in a timely manner, that the difference would be just over $3,000. And since you all had approved a specific amount, I didn't want to just go ahead and do that extra without talking to the board first. So basically, unless any of you have an objection, I'll give Jeff to go ahead to order those monitors from another company. And before any of you think it or ask it even, I asked him, I said, well, Jeff, why don't we just temporarily use the monitors that's coming off of the others? They're Apples. It's all integrated. So my idea was shot down real quick. But essentially, it's going to cost $3,000, even though it's going to be a different vendor. But I just felt like I needed to bring that up to you guys. So do you see any objections to that, anyone?
I do not.
With that, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Oh, I was I meant to ask you earlier, what's your plan as far as putting that administrator's job?
Nothing until we get the Kim Wells situation.
Okay, that's what I thought, resolved, make sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to have the
Right.
job description approved, in case we get to that point, it's already approved, and you know, we may never use it, but if we do, it's approved and ready to go.
Any other questions from board members? I would request that, we did convene an IT committee at the beginning of the year, during an organizational meeting, and I would request that that meeting, be scheduled sometime in the near future, just so we can kind of get on track with that.
Do you guys get settled in?
Yep.
And then I'll also get, is Jeremy still the president, or has that switched already?
I'll find out.
Okay. If you find out, let me know who the president is, it might be Chase.
Yeah.